It's almost 2017. As we turn to a new year, I want to do my personal top 10 list for live action comic book shows so far. I'm focusing on superhero type shows, so that means I'm going to exclude things like The Preacher and The Walking Dead. So here we go, let's jump right into it. Legends of Tomorrow. After a very rocky start in its first season, the second season has thus far impressed me. This is just a fun show, much like The Flash. It's just lighthearted. You can't look at the science or logic because nothing in this show really it doesn't make any sense. So just kind of sit back and have fun with it. And if you do that, you'll enjoy it. I look forward to what appears to be a rotating cast of characters as the show progresses, evolving the characters and moving them forward from where they started. It's not the smartest or most original show out there, but I enjoy seeing characters like Sarah Lance evolve from her time on Arrow, from Runaway, to Assassin, Superhero, Death and Return, now as a leader and a pilot. She's come a long way, and that is what a good show needs. They just need to keep challenging and pushing their characters, and I think if the show continues on for that for a few more years, it may surprise some people with its direction. The Incredible Hulk. One of the first live-action superhero shows still holds up well today. Yes, it has that cheese factor, but that's all part of the nostalgia. This version of Hulk is actually a lot different from the comics. He's far weaker and therefore more relatable as a character, someone who hurts everyone around him so he keeps on the move. That lonely song that always plays as he's walking away at the end of the show completely encompasses the show as a whole. It's a very personal story of someone who wants to be left alone, but his capacity to do good always forces him away. The beast he's always trying to escape is presented as a pure rage monster, but to me it actually encompasses a lot of who Dr. Banner is, some of his best parts. Plus, how can you not get the feels after hearing this song? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. For me, this show's been all over the map since its release. With all the hype surrounding the Marvel Cinematic Universe, everyone was really looking forward to this, myself included, especially when the Whedon team was attached to the project. The first season struggled to find its groove, but once it did, it took off running. With appearances by Mariah Hill and Nick Fury in the first season, it ended up very nicely. The following seasons have struggled to find their way as the premise of the show continually changed as a result of the actions within the Marvel movies. Sometimes this forced the show into fun directions, but other times it felt like it was forcing a square through a round hole. What kept me watching was the characters. Obviously Coulson is great, but I really enjoyed watching Fitzsimmons and their relationship. I loved watching Grant Ward's multifaceted character. I found myself always wondering if he could find redemption. I love the introduction of the Inhumans, but I believe their inclusion was kind of wasted in this show. Inhumans as a Marvel movie would have been better, and I feel like we kind of got the discounted version within this show. But it's not afraid to kill off its characters, which can keep you guessing. It's a bit of a mixed bag, as this season also introduced Ghost Rider, also something I think would have been better for the big screen or for Netflix to handle. I'm still undecided on my feelings for the show, but it always has me coming back, which is more than I can say about this television show. Yeah. Supergirl. I didn't watch the show when it aired on TV because CBS is stingy with their content and doesn't share it with Hulu. A trend that CW has followed this year, but at least CW makes their shows available on their site and allows Netflix to air their reruns, which is where I was able to catch up with Supergirl. I have to admit that the show didn't really hook me much initially. I found myself struggling through the first few episodes. I found it to be completely predictable and its characters to be two-dimensional. I'd say about a third into the series it began to catch a stride with me and kept plowing forward. The episode titled Human for a Day was probably the point where I started getting into the show. I love the portrayal of Supergirl, and it was a great idea to keep Superman off screen in the first season. I'm still not a big fan of Jimmy Olsen's character, and I find Wynn's character to be a poor man's Cisco, who is perpetually stuck in the friend zone. But I enjoy John Jones as Martian Manhunter, and Supergirl's sister as well. Basically, the show is split into two different universes, with Kara's life at the newspaper and then Supergirl's life at the Alien Task Force. with the former being the far weaker of the two. While I love Cat Grant's character, all it does is go to show that the male characters in the show come across as boring and bland and two-dimensional. I mean, it's still a great show with real money put into special effects by CBS, and that shows. Some of the effects are film-worthy in my opinion. In the end, the show is somewhere in between the New Adventures of Superman, Lois and Clark, and The Flash. Once again, more towards the former. It's worth checking out as the show moves forward. Agent Carter. I'd watch anything with Haley Atwell in it. She's a great actress and pretty nice. I did meet her, and yes, I was cheesing the whole time. Alright, we're going to continue on. Seriously, I do love period films, and I love this period piece set in the Marvel Universe. I'd often wonder what happened to Agent Carter after Captain America. We get to see some of it in this series. I loved the first season of this show. It showed the aftermath of World War II and her struggle to escape the perception of the times. She's forced to prove herself over and over and over again before she's taken seriously, and even then, her successes were snatched away by some shitbags. The second season had many great moments, but I was not fond of moving the plot to LA. I thought that storyline there seemed to drag on a bit too long. I'd prefer to time jump ahead to see more of her founding S.H.I.E.L.D., maybe leading into the Korean War, the Cold War. I feel like there were some missed opportunities, and with the abrupt cancellation, we were never able to see Agent Carter transition into that leadership role. To me, this is a series that was mishandled and cut short of its potential. In a lot of ways, Agent Carter is like the Firefly of comic book shows. Arrow. I was really surprised by the show in the first season. Many argue that it's just a ripoff of Batman, which I completely understand, but it doesn't make it any less good. The first season presents a very different version of Oliver Queen than people might know from the comics. Here we see something in between, like Punisher and Batman, as the Arrow has no problem hunting and killing people who are damaging his city, or as he likes to say,
"You have failed this city."
I honestly prefer the first few seasons. For me, the high point of the show was really kind of Deathstroke, and there was some high points after that with Ra's al Ghul, but the series never really reached those high points again. I was frustrated by the nerfing of Green Arrow's abilities to make the sidekicks kind of more relevant, which is why for me the show isn't higher on the list. But this show gave us great characters like Felicity and Diggle, both characters I really like in the show. But it also gave us Thea, who was, in my opinion, a very annoying character. This all adds up to a bit of a mixed bag over the last 4 years, but I still enjoy the show. I hope Season 5 finds a good balance in between the previous seasons and the direction that the show has taken its characters. Luke Cage. I was really looking forward to this on the tail end of Jessica Jones, and it didn't disappoint. Luke Cage is the Captain America of the streets. This guy wants to do what is right in spite of everyone and everything standing in his way. There's a great twist halfway through the season that left me shocked, and from that point on I wasn't really sure where the show was going, which kept me guessing. There are a few drawbacks to the show. I hated the whole exploding bullet idea, that everybody had that, and didn't like the uniform the bad guy wears at the end. It kind of felt really out of continuity with the rest of the show's tone. But these are minor qualms. This is a story about a guy who is forced out of the shadows and steps up in a big way in his community to try and make it a better place. Years ago, I had picked Terry Crews to play Luke Cage in a Marvel movie. Yes, this was a poster I did, but at this point, I can see no other person as this character. This is a great performance. I loved how they tied in the nurse from Daredevil, and she was also in an episode of Jessica Jones. Her character has made its way through the Netflix Marvel Universe and ultimately found her home on Luke Cage. As the third Netflix show set in the Marvel Universe, they have completely cemented their place as the definitive Marvel street-level perspective in the Marvel Universe. And unlike Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which has constantly struggled to maintain its place, Netflix has successfully set their shows apart from the films while maintaining the continuity of the Marvel movie universe. Smallville. Many people have mixed opinions of the show, but obviously with Smallville coming in at number 3 for me, I think very highly of it. Without Smallville, we wouldn't have this golden age of DC TV cinema that we have today. It was Smallville's version of Green Arrow that inspired the Arrow. So love it or hate it, on some level you have to appreciate it. I'd like to see any other show on this list last for 10 seasons, which is a major achievement in and of itself. This is also the show that made Superman into one of my favorite characters. It's very hard to capture Superman as his character because his abilities, writers have a hard time making him relatable, and I think they did a great job in this show. Tom Welling's turn as Clark Kent is one of the best in my mind because you could relate to being an outsider, being different and trying to fit in. You could identify with him as he tried to find his way in the world. Who he was and what he was meant to do, he's always looking for the good in people, and that's Superman. He's not to be outdone by Michael Rosenbaum's turn as Lex Luthor. Especially going back and watching the show, it's really interesting to see his transformation. And his exit from the show left a big hole that was never really filled. Smallville attempted to make up for it with the introduction of other DC comic book characters, some hits and some misses. Unfortunately, the legal rights that was going on between Superman and DC, it cost us the opportunity to see Clark fully embrace the Superman persona. We didn't get to see him in the suit. It would have been nice to see that for a few seasons. Luckily, we get some of that in the comic continuation, season 11. If you haven't checked that out and you like Smallville, definitely give that a read. Smallville was a fun ride for me, the best live action interpretation of both Superman and Lex, in my opinion. Daredevil. After Ben Affleck's turn as Daredevil, and then there was a spin-off Elektra, it was clear that Fox wasn't going to attempt anything else with the character. And while I think the director's cut of Daredevil isn't that bad, this show is far and away superior to anything the folks at Fox could have ever done. I always thought that Daredevil would be more at home in a TV show. As a blind lawyer with a built-in lie detector defending people who can't afford legal defense and then dealing out his own personal justice at night. That just spells television gold to me. While the show doesn't 100% capitalize on the lawyer side like I would like, it is still an amazing show. Wilson Fisk is a great character that is at once like relatable and scary as shit. Daredevil gets the shit kicked out of him multiple times in the show, constantly reminding you that this guy could actually die. His suit not even appears until like the last episode of the first season, which was a big surprise to people. I don't think anybody expected that. There's great single shot action that makes the combat stylistically unique, and I was really impressed and shocked by what I was seeing. The Flash. My top pick is the fastest man alive. The Flash has almost perfectly blended emotion, time traveling, universe hopping, superhero, crime show, romance, and sci-fi together. Great cast of characters from the father figure Joe West to scientist Cisco Ramon. Yes, that's me and my friends cosplaying CW versions of the DC characters when we met the actor who played Cisco. Really cool guy, we were cheesing. Let's move on. Alright, you have great characters in Harrison Wells. There is no one that I root for more than Barry and Iris. I really like their relationship. It's a very believable couple who hopefully they'll shy away from the whole will they or won't they crap that permeates almost all the other shows. At this point, I hope they throw different challenges their way, and of course there is Barry Allen, the glue that holds everything together. And as we begin the second season, I've seen little to trip up the show. Since the first few episodes in season 1, The Flash has only gotten better as time has progressed, always keeping you guessing and unafraid to take the show in new directions. I actually see big changes in the future for Barry and company. The Flash also has some great special effects, as I was astounded by the way they handled both Gorilla Grodd and King Shark. I never would have thought in a million years we'd ever see either of those characters on the small screen, because they did a great job of making them look good. I look forward to seeing what new adventures are in store for The Flash, more than any other show currently airing. That is the mark of a great show, one that can immerse you, have you coming back, and only getting better as it pushes forward. Arrow may have kicked off the DC TV universe, but The Flash is the one steering the ship. So in the words of Harrison Wells, run, Barry, run.